Quando Premonição foi lançado no ano 2000, a New Line Cinema não tinha grandes expectativas para o filme, que aparentava ser apenas mais um terror protagonizado por adolescentes.
Esse avião vai explodir!
No entanto, a produção surpreendeu e arrecadou quase 5 vezes o valor do seu orçamento nas bilheterias, o que levou o estúdio a investir numa sequência 3 anos depois. E embora Premonição 2 tenha alcançado bons resultados, seu lucro acabou ficando um pouco abaixo das expectativas, motivando a produtora a trazer de volta para a franquia o diretor James Wong e o roteirista Glenn Morgan, a dupla responsável pelo filme original, para realizar Premonição 3. 6 anos após um grupo de estudantes terem enganado a morte pela primeira vez, a jovem Wendy tem uma premonição de que ela e seus amigos vão sofrer um terrível acidente numa montanha-russa. Mas quando o pressentimento, ela e os demais sobreviventes precisarão lidar com as consequências de tentar mudar seus destinos.
Eu não vou morrer. Você vai!
Como já se tornou tradição da franquia, a sequência inicial é sempre a mais grandiosa e complexa tecnicamente. E cada detalhe da caracterização do cenário era importante.
The concept for the devil was that he be standing a lot like Hercules at the gates of Hades, and we realized that somebody sitting on his throne, beckoning people into his underworld, has a different kind of energy, has the energy of somebody who's totally in control. The devil's made almost entirely of styrofoam. It weighs in the neighborhood of 2 tons, which is a lot of styrofoam, and probably has 7.5 tons of support to keep it from flying away. It was about 6 weeks from the time the first knife hit the styrofoam to the time we set up, which is pretty good for what we got.
E Tony Todd, que interpretou William Bloodworth nos 2 primeiros filmes, emprestou sua voz para a criatura demoníaca.
Você pode fugir, mas não pode se esconder.
O que foi? Tá com medo de ir?
Para construir a cena da montanha-russa, a produção utilizou uma combinação de muitos efeitos práticos e computação gráfica. A primeira parte das filmagens foi realizada numa montanha-russa verdadeira no Canadá. Utilizando câmeras por controle remoto posicionadas na frente dos vagões, a sequência foi filmada durante 3 noites. E os atores tiveram que realizar o percurso mais de 20 vezes por noite.
You didn't die, no? We will be going again, by the way.
The novelty wore off after, the 3rd round. You're like, okay, it's hard to be happy and still do this over and over again.
You got about 10 rides where it's still fun. The next 10, it's dizzying. So I think in total, we probably rode it maybe close to 60 times in the course of 3 nights.
Whew! I'd never get on a roller coaster again. O que foi?
Pode ir! Vamos nessa!
Uhul! Nós temos que sair daqui. Não aperta o botão! Não aperta! Meus trilhos vão cair, por favor!
Well, one of the things that keeps an action sequence going is a progression of shots, so you never, hopefully, revisit the same shot twice, so you're always moving on to another one, something new and different.
Too steep angle. And we're putting the mirror in, are we?
It's a very, very old movie trick where you set up a mirror to reflect the object coming at you in it so that it looks like it's going to run right over the camera. Probably at any given time, we tried to have at least 2 or 3 cameras going because, again, time was so limited that the more pieces we could get per each pass of the train, the more exciting the sequence is going to be.
Action, Rory.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, we got the descender shot, moving over to the coaster mounts.
E para filmar os detalhes das mortes dos personagens, a segunda parte foi gravada em estúdio, utilizando vagões construídos com um sistema hidráulico e chroma key para o preenchimento do plano de fundo.
What we've got here is a set of towers that hold up the end of a roller coaster rig. We've got 6 cars that are suspended in the air hydraulically between those 2 towers. and it allows us to position it in just about any position that they want for the coasters coming down the hills and through the corkscrews and the loops.
So what you do is you keep that stationary, you bounce it around like that, kids acting like the world's about to end, and you have the camera race towards them really fast. You can have the harnesses fly up. You can get J.J. Macro and his gang to pull some of the kids up and out. So cars are shaking, the harnesses fly up, and the kids go kind of almost come out and back down again, back into the cars. So what you get in film when we put it all together is the shot of the roller coaster cresting a hill, coming down, the harnesses come up, and out come the kids.
So we will be seeing their faces when they fall out of the roller coasters. A lot of the time it's going to be them.
A terceira etapa consistia em criar uma montanha-russa ainda maior e mais assustadora. E para isso foram utilizados efeitos de computação gráfica para ampliar a altura e a imponência da atração.
We pretty much had to pull all the stops technologically. One of the things we have to do is take a really small roller coaster in a mediocrely sized amusement park and put a gigantic roller coaster in its place. That roller coaster is 65 feet high. Jim's roller coaster is 250, 190 feet high. So now we have this sort of a Franken roller coaster. Part one roller coaster, part another roller coaster.
Had to be built for real on a very large set that Mark had designed, and we had to incorporate our real coaster through the middle of it. We had about 220 feet of rail track running through Stage 7. We actually had a 25-degree up ramp out of that, so we took our 6-car train right out and up at a ramped angle out of the barn.
The script describes a very long 250-foot climb. Our roller coaster at the Peony peaks out at, I think, 65 feet. Our virtual roller coaster is 189 feet. That's really tall.
Uma das cenas mais criativas do filme acontece quando as personagens Ashley e Aisling ficam presas nas câmaras de bronzeamento artificial. Para torná-la mais realista, além do uso de maquiagem de efeitos para simular as queimaduras, uma dublê utilizou um gel anti-fogo, permitindo que seu corpo ficasse em chamas por cerca de 30 segundos durante cada take.
I can't believe these girls are doing this.
They're my heroes. Look at the burn marks at the end of this.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Then that didn't hurt her? No. Listen, she goes hot.
Hi. Is that her skin?
Any questions? She can't get out. And it's just, she's trapped. You can't get out. You're on fire. You kick like hell.
The new stunt gel that's been developed for this show is amazing. And we can actually have our skin on fire without any worry about wearing flame retardant.
Okay, action, Leslie. And action. Take the shit out of it. Cut.
A sequência em que um caminhão atinge o carro dos protagonistas foi planejada para ser feita de forma totalmente prática.
That big yellow ram, driven with air, acts to pull this cable that's running through it, which is attached to the 5-ton truck up behind us. So you see it hooked up on the front there. Basically what the rig does, that ram fills up with air and pulls that cable down, pulling this truck in. It gives us more speed than we could get on a short distance out of an engine or just using a regular engine in a truck. So that then comes into the back of the pickup truck, which is holding Kevin and Wendy, which isn't on the rig yet. The rig basically works off of this piece of I-beam here, so we can keep all the cars straight as they hit, so they don't, if you just hit a car, it might skid one way or the other. This rail lets us keep everything straight so that it'll happen in the direction Jim wants. That pickup truck will get crushed up. The engine is on another rig inside the pickup. That engine gets pushed up, and as the pickup truck crushes the back of the MG here and smashes in there, that engine will jump up into the back of where Frankie Cheek's head's sitting, and the fan on the front of the engine, which is driven by a little DC motor, will spin and chew up Frankie's head and spit him all over that window over there.
Mas nem sempre as coisas saem conforme planejado.
1, 2, 3!
Things went really pretty badly wrong on the moving van crash. When the truck stunt went awry, a 900-pound hydraulic cylinder came whistling across the set like it was a 2x4 and knocked over both our A and B cameras, which tipped over and, of course, didn't get the shot because they were pointing in the air when the crash happened. We were lucky hardly any damage occurred. You know, they're tough German cameras and they were actually okay. We just didn't get the shot. The first thing that I think most of us felt was shock because it's so unusual that anything goes wrong on those things. They've been tested 6 ways to Sunday and hardly ever anything goes wrong. I'm really glad we got everybody well back from that thing because you never want to see anybody get hurt.
Well, we're fucked.
So various things were changed. Mostly what we decided to do was actually use the blind drive truck and find a way to safety that and make that a safe, effective way to do it. What that gave us in the final shot, which was a bonus in disguise, was a much longer run-in. But it's a very, very abrupt stop. It's like slamming into a brick wall with your face.
Eu sempre ganho!
A morte do personagem Louis na academia de musculação também não seria menos trágica. Para essa cena, a equipe construiu um boneco realista baseado nas feições do ator para que sua cabeça fosse esmagada de forma prática.
Well, we needed a piece of weight room equipment that would crush a guy's head like a melon, and sadly, they don't have that kind of thing on the marketplace right now. They try and avoid that kind of thing, so much so that nothing comes even close to being able to crush a guy's head like a melon.
Well, I guess this was one of somebody else's concepts about how to do it, and you can see, you know, inherently how this doesn't crush the head the way they wanted to crush the head, and in fact, they've actually severed the head, and the head's gone flying. So what you really need is to actually sandwich the head right smack between the weights. And the other important element is that only one failure could occur instead of like things popping off all over the place and stuff. What you really want is just one thing to happen and then boom, done, because that's sort of what that scene's all about. So this was my concept of what was going to happen with the weight machine. Originally, these things started closer together, but then when we started adding all the weights, we found that we were crushing the weights instead of the guy's heads, so we had to push this apart. But anyways, my idea was that this pin here would pop off and that these two metal flanges would just fall uselessly and that these would just fall on the weight of gravity. But special effects needs things to work perfectly, and they don't like the idea of hoping that these will fall simultaneously exactly, which is what you need to crush the guy's head, so you're not just shoving it in two different directions. So they put a kind of a hinge element here that would slide down, but the actual way that it worked was very similar to my concept, and the machine itself was exactly the way I designed it.
3, 2, 1, sword. And action.
Eu não te falei, Kevin! Dane-se a morte! Eu ganhei! Eu sei como se faz! Eu sempre ganho!
And 3, 2, 1, go!
Matar.
As cenas na loja de materiais de construção foram filmadas na Rona Home and Garden, em Vancouver. A equipe só podia gravar após o fechamento do estabelecimento e precisava deixá-lo exatamente como o havia encontrado. Enquanto diferentes partes da cena eram filmadas, outros membros da equipe recolocavam os produtos nas prateleiras. Além disso, precisaram virar objetos para esconder as marcas, já que a loja não queria que seu nome ou produtos fossem associados a um filme sobre a morte de adolescentes.
A morte é bastante complicada.
I felt so incredibly confident that I was really excited to come to set. Came to set, and the first day promptly crashed the forklift.
Yeah. Sorry. We might want to have cleanup on aisle 5.
Who was sitting behind us?
I've discovered that I can't act and drive a forklift at the same time. When I'm like, the performance is going really well, the forklift driving is absolutely terrible. And when I'm actually driving the forklift really well, I'm not in any way paying attention to the performance.
It's not complicated, it's simple.
3, 2, 1, action.
Oh!
Let's go look real quick.
Wow!
E para a cena da morte de Erin, a produção também criou um boneco baseado na atriz. Pregos de fibra de vidro foram alojados dentro da cabeça da réplica e eram expelidos com um sistema de ar comprimido.
Kevin!
Ready?
A gente tem que sair daqui agora.
O que foi?
Na minha foto eu tava usando a camiseta do Colégio McKinley. Ele é a pista. O quê?
É mais seguro na tenda de primeiros socorros. Sai fora daqui, McKinley!
E a sequência final ainda traria mais alguns desafios para os protagonistas, como explosões reais.
The propane tank that's simulated, it's a fake one that we built. There's a flame coming out of it here that is going off the top of the shot. When this fireball goes off, it will happen, it will die. That tank will get turned off so it isn't in the background so much anymore. That's the end of the shot. If anything goes wrong, I will call it and just ask everybody to stay put until we make safe.
Action.
There's a chance some of this paper may be burning a little bit afterwards. Once we all cut, we'll come in and put it out with a Hudson sprayer and some CO2. We have fire safety stuff around the area here. And everything else is basically safetied off. Don't come in afterwards until we clear the area. Pretty straightforward. Ready? And...
Ou ainda, a atriz Amanda Crew sendo arrastada por um cavalo sem o uso de efeitos digitais.
Going into it, I was like, this is gonna be so cool. It's gonna be so easy. Like, stunt people are just gonna like put me on some rolly wheels on my back. I really did think that I was gonna be sitting on something that had wheels on it, so that I'd be rolling. But I wasn't. They really did drag me, but I had a harness or whatever. And so like as they're going over the stunts, I realized how much more serious this was.
If it's too much, just yell Jake.
Okay.
That way we know that you're not acting anymore.
Right. Okay, that's a good sign.
We actually put Amanda into a lot of the shots. And when I walked in, I thought I was going to have to pamper her and look after her. And I was thinking frail, but that's not the case.
Like, I don't mind if it hurts a little, because I'd rather be, like, really, like, tight.
Everything had to be to some degree of roughness for her so she could play the part to her best advantage.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good.
So the whole time I was worried about hurting her, she was just saying, bring it on, bring it on, bring it on again. I can take it. Very tough girl. Very impressive.
It looks really good. I think, you're just battered. Every movement you make is painful.
Hopefully this time.
O Ian ia causar sua morte. Você interveio e a gente escapou.
Após o término das filmagens, o filme foi submetido a algumas sessões de teste, mas o público não aprovou o final original, onde os protagonistas sobreviviam.
In this case, I don't believe it was a test screening audience that dictated a change. They confirmed it, but when we were cutting it, we knew that the ending didn't work. It just sat there. It didn't seem to address the issue of whether they escaped death or they were alive, because it just happens and it stops and the movie stops. So it's just too abrupt. When you watch this very loud, fast, visceral movie, you can't end like that. You just can't end like that. It just doesn't work. It feels off.
Basically, they said that it was going to be a huge, subway accident, and that was kind of the first I heard, and that was basically all that they told me until I got here, pretty much.
They said, it tested really well and people liked it, but they all hated the ending. That was like good and bad news. I was like, well, shit, okay. What the hell are we gonna do?
I didn't really mind, whether or not I was gonna die. It's like, if it works for the story, man, kill me.
I had written both versions, where the one version, she's literally on the track thinking that it's a premonition and trying to wake herself up from the premonition when the train hits her. So not only is it not a premonition, it's, you know, that's it, you're dead. And they all die. And then we added the alternate version, which is, it comes out and it's a premonition, but can they get off? So for me, this alternate way is actually more, you know, open-ended and hopeful, if you can call it that.
Para criar a sequência da última premonição de Wendy, a equipe construiu vagões em miniatura para simular a colisão dos trens desgovernados.
Eu nunca pensei que poderia ver minha morte antes dela acontecer.
Contando com um orçamento de 25 milhões de dólares, Premonição 3 arrecadou cerca de 120 milhões de dólares nas bilheterias mundiais, marca que o mantém até hoje como o segundo filme mais lucrativo da franquia. Se você gosta deste tipo de conteúdo, não esqueça de deixar seu like, se inscrever no canal e ativar as notificações. Nos vemos no próximo vídeo. Até mais!